Hello, this is OrangeCoffee. This is a guide on what to do during a match, the game plan you should have in mind, how to fight players or monsters, and lots of general advice. I will go over a solo game and explain my intentions, thought process, and decision making, so you can understand it and learn from one of the best players in the game. First thing you do every match is open your map and orientate yourself. You want to know where you are. I spawn right next to Glyph, an easy one, so the first thing I do is go to not the Glyph. The first thing you do every single game is get 2 weapons. Very, very important. I see a lot of people doing this wrong. They go to the glyph, they just get rolled on by someone else because they're too slow with their glyph and still don't have a weapon. Sometimes the spawn points have very few weapon boxes or you're just getting unlucky. So before you do anything, loot weapons. While you're looting, you're probably gonna find a shop. So you go to the shop and buy ammo. That ammo will very likely last you for the rest of the game. Very cheap, you're gonna have the money by that time in the match. If you have money from the previous match, feel free to buy a weapon or upgrade the one you have right now. And now you keep looting until you have 2 weapons that you feel comfortable playing with. Just imagine someone is rolling up on you. You don't want to lose the fight because you have 2 dark sparks and you don't know how to use them. Get 2 weapons that you can play. They don't have to be good, they don't have to be purple, they don't need to be your favorite weapons, you just need to be okay playing with them. And once you have them, you stop looting. That's another mistake I see a lot of people doing. They spend their first 5 minutes just looting for weapons, and that's way too long. Get 2 weapons that you're okay with playing, and then stick with them for a while. A lot of the game is about time management and doing things as fast as possible, so you don't want to be wasting too much time. In this case now, I have a tight frame, I have a Mazakin, I am great with those weapons, I like playing them, I stop looting, and I start going for my first glyph. While going for my first glyph, I see this stash, which I just quickly dig up. The question mark on the map means either a hidden stash or just a trinket free lying around. Small tip for collecting a stash. The easiest way to find a hidden stash is by just combing the search area. So you just walk like the pink lines here and you will easily find it. Your traverser is gonna give you signals. The more of the 3 bars, the closer you are. And now I just quickly finish this glyph, nothing special happening. I'm now thinking what to do next. I see this vector depot and I open my map to see if there's a delta unit close. They are. The delta units with keys are marked as question marks on the map. So I ping it on the map and head over there. I equip my slingshot so I will run faster. And then I sprint and slide to just get over there. I now get a danger ping. These danger pings are extremely important because they signal a player is close by. You notice them by your traverser blinking red and your character saying somebody is close. As soon as I hear that, I pull out my weapon because now at any point I might have to fight someone and I don't know where they are yet. So now I know a player is close. I hear a gun. I see a red dot on the minimap. Another little tip, you can hang on ledges a bit. So I just hang there, look over it, check around what the other player is doing, get up. He's in a terrible spot. He's standing in the open, no cover nearby, already has lost a lot of shield fighting against monsters, so I just quickly kill him. And now go to the key delta unit that I want to do. Walking past this glyph here because I don't want to do that right now. And that's the delta unit with a key, you see the little icon. And now the biggest tip for fighting PvE, never ever ever go to monsters and melee them. I see a lot of new players do that, never do that, even off spawn. Terrible idea. If you get close to the monsters, this is where the main effective range of them is. All of the monsters have an aggro range where they will attack you. And if you get close, a lot of the monsters have close range attacks and you just take a lot of damage. Your melee attacks don't do any damage. The easiest way to fight PvE is just stay away and shoot them. And that's what I did right here. You saw how incredibly easy that was. I just stayed away, quickly killed it, take the key, and now go back to the vector depot. Whenever possible, you want to surf because water is way faster than just running around. But it comes at the risk of you being in the open and being very exposed and not being able to precisely shoot. So keep that in mind. So I open up the vector depot, switch out my time frame for blue fall star. You always want to have a mid to long range weapon and a mid to close range weapon. If you want to know more details about weapons, meta weapons list, I'm gonna link that in the description. And now my inventory is full. I have 3 trinkets on me, so I go towards the next extract. There's a glyph right next to it, so I want to do that one first before I extract. So I go on the water again, and another detail for surfing. There's jellyfish that if you surf over them, you get 10 overshield, 1-time shield, so you always want to surf over them. They're littered all over the map and pretty much everywhere. And there's also a lot of haste mushrooms across the map that when you walk over them, they give you haste boost, so you run a bit faster. Now I zip up here, and I know I want to do this glyph. This glyph is in a very exposed open spot, so I look around a bit to see if there's maybe any players nearby or any monsters before I start the glyph. And I make sure I position myself right next to cover, so if someone catches me off guard, I can just move away and go to cover, because this glyph pretty much requires me to stand in the open and look at a specific target, so I can't see my surroundings. I get the bird glyph very early in the match here, and it's gonna be very useful for the rest of the match. Always pinging the closest enemy will come in clutch very often. Now I go back to the extract and I get the Bodhi message. Once you touch an extraction point with a lot of loot, there's a chance that Bodhi will spawn. Bodhi can only spawn once or twice a match, and after he has been killed he won't spawn anymore. So if you kill him at the beginning of a match, you won't have any trouble for the rest of the match. Luckily I have an anti-shield grenade, so I just throw that at Bodhi. It depletes his whole shield. Once Bodhi's shield is depleted, he splits into his illusions, and there will be 4 illusions, with one being the real Bodhi that will run away. And now the first fundamental for player versus player combat: you always want to be close to cover, because other people cannot shoot through solid objects. And this is what I'm doing right here. As you can see, I stood right next to the shop on extraction point all the time. This is something that I recommend generally every time you extract. Hug the shop and you will always have cover, because all of the extraction points are completely open and flat, and if you just stand in the middle, you are a very easy target. Luckily for me, this was just a bot, walked into my anti-shield grenade and I just kill him, but I didn't even take damage, because I stood right next to cover. This is the single biggest tip I have for the whole video: don't stand in the open, always be next to cover. Now I extract everything, pick up the grenade here. I'm thinking about picking up the Duonic here, because it would be really good, close range weapon, but I don't want to run 2 energy rifles, because I will run out of ammo very quickly. Overall, ammo management doesn't really exist, because you just have way too much, and the shops just give you enough for the rest of the game. But energy weapons and efficient weapons take more ammo per shot, so if you run, for example, 2 efficient ammo weapons or 2 energy ammo weapons, you will run out of ammo very fast. As long as you don't do that, doesn't matter, you can run 2 plain weapons, they don't take as much ammo. And this leads me into the next big step on the game plan. This is now what I call the mid game. The mid game is all about staying alive. Very important. You want to stay alive. That's the highest priority you have. And keeping your resources up and upgrading your loadout while doing glyphs or fighting players. So I start this glyph here, kill whatever is on the top first, because it will throw stuff at you. You always want to kill the monsters with range first, because they will throw stuff at you, the other ones have to get close to you. In a lot of monster encounters, there's one specific monster that will buff and heal the other ones, so you want to kill that one first, because it's gonna keep healing them. So that's what I do right here. Right now there's a lot of monsters around me, and I have to stay in this close space, and I kind of have a problem. So I'm running around the circle. I have this thing in the middle that I can use to break line of sight with the monsters, so they don't throw stuff at me, and I get very low. But I get a little bit greedy and finish the glyph even, and now I have to heal up. So the thing you do is, when you want to heal up, is you go to a spot that you can't take damage. So you go behind cover, where it's very difficult to hit you. You just heal up, use your colas, wait for your shield to regenerate. I go back, collect the glyph. Keep in mind, it's always better to restart a glyph than super risky and die, so I do that. Now I get a player ping over here, and right now I'm in a very bad spot. There's monsters on my right, there's a bunch of open field in my front. I immediately take cover on this bush, but the other player is also in a terrible spot. They are standing in the complete open, just like me. I'm comfortable taking this fight, so I try to push over a bit, but it turns out there's no player. That might be a bot having spawned and despawned, or an invisible player. Now go over here to investigate the player I've seen earlier. What player, you are asking? This player. Did you notice it? During this stage in the game, or in general, you should really watch out for your minimap and gunshots. There's gonna be a lot of players on the map crossing paths due to the glyphs and general objectives, so you have to be very careful right now. Everybody is looking to fight right now. Now trying to spot the player. We couldn't have gotten that far yet. There's only 2 possible ways he could go: along the open, towards the left towards water. I'm looking at the monsters to see if some of them recently aggroed, because they would have chased the player if they went through, but he didn't go towards the door, he didn't go towards the tower, so he either went far away to the water on the left or he's going right. I'm assuming right because he might have the same glyph as me, and if I don't find him I'll just do my glyphs. I'll also pick up a Wandarian Vein here. While this one is in the ground, this is how they look. You should always pick them up. I also open some boxes here and there on my way to refill up my ammo and grenades, and maybe I get lucky and get a better weapon or shield. If a weapon box is on your way, just open it up, but don't divert your path too much so you waste time. I'm now using an invisibility pod. You find them all across the map, and especially in vault locations. Destroying them and then walking through the puddle they create gives you invisibility. I'm taking advantage of that. I see the player on the right. I see he's really far, and now I'm just trying to open this door in invisibility. It doesn't really work out, so I just kill the monsters, open the door, because I know he's really far away from me. He won't push over, and if he does, I have a great positional advantage, having high ground, having good cover while he's standing in the open, so I'm not really afraid of him. Next thing I want to do is this glyph, and I know there might be a player on my right side, so I purposely leave the right side door closed. I know nobody can come up from behind me, behind the altar, so if someone wants to push me, they can only come from the door. So I position myself so I can do the puzzle and look at the door if someone is coming over. This right here was the best moment in the whole game for me. My Amazon package came. After I came back from the front door, I get another bird ping. Monkey see, monkey shoot. That's probably the player that got pinged earlier, so I open the door. I want to avoid the mob aggro here, so the other player won't spot me, but I would rather expose my location than have 3 monsters in my back while I try to fight a player that I don't know exactly where he is yet, because he doesn't know either, and right now I have positional advantage. I use another invis pod here and slowly go a bit closer, waiting for them to do more shots, and they do. I now see another red dot on the minimap. It's not on top, so it has to be below. Go around, look below, see the player there. He is standing in a terrible spot between 2 traps. I shoot him a bit, just shoot the trap. That was probably bot either, but a free kill. Pick up the stash that is right on my way, and I shoot the barrel here. And I do this because I want to avoid taking damage by trap, because you can use traps very efficiently to do damage to other players if they are not aware. So a good way to defend yourself by taking damage to traps is just to activate them before you cross the path by just shooting the red barrel where you're gonna go, or for example a spinny blade. Just don't walk into the area where you know it will be spinning, and you can easily avoid death like you've seen before. Now I want to go back to the glyph. I want to enter through the secret passage here, trying to open it with a grenade, but I forgot it doesn't work with a stun grenade, so just walk back, do the glyph, nothing special. And now I see someone is extracting close to me, and now I want to go over there. And this is an ideal situation to explain something else. You only have to fight monsters if you want to be in the area the monsters are controlling. Every monster that spawns naturally has a certain area that they will stay in, and they will aggro into players. But here's the important thing. If you are just passing through, you don't have to kill the monsters. You can just walk past them. And once you get out of the aggro range, they will leave you alone. So now I get another close warning. I see a captured extraction point in front of me. They're probably there. But Birdcliff coming in clutch. There's fireflies very close to them, but I haven't seen them yet. So I shoot at the fireflies, and the fire is heat seeking, so it goes to them, reveals their location, forces them to extinguish, and does a bit of damage. This is a beautiful situation for me. I have cover right next to me. I completely annihilate the other player because they are too confident and try to shoot back at lower HP. I win the spray fight, and I even barely take any damage because I have such a good cover spot right here, and it's really difficult for the other player to hit me right here. They are not immediately dying, meaning they have revive kit. I go over, finish them off, and take their loot. They have great loot. I've collected the duplicate glyph, which means this is probably a later stage glyph. Very likely the 2nd, 3rd, or maybe even 4th glyph. The 3rd glyph I have, and every other player will have as the 3rd glyph, the heart glyph. The heart glyph lets you revive at a revival shrine, and this shrine will always be the closest one to where you died. I open up my map, and I see 2 revival shrines very close to me. I pick the left one, because if it's the right one, I will come back to that spot later. If I don't see them on the left shrine, I'll go back to the glyph because I know where the vault is, because the last glyph is there, and I will get a close notification when I would come back, but I'm going left because they will probably come back to where they died to get the loot back, or if they are on a similar glyph level than me, go towards the vault and finish the glyphs. I now know that this is a player that is probably pretty close to opening the vault. I likely know where they are, and I know I have the advantage because I have better loot than them right now. Because if you respawn, you only keep your weapons, and I picked up their gold shield and their boosters and their revive kit. So this is a fight that I want to take because it's an easy fight for me. So I go over there and try to kill them. Take the fastest path, but they went somewhere else than I expected they would go. So I go back to where I think there will be. A very logical thing to do would be pick up your loot. So I'll go back where the loot is, where they died, keeping in mind that I have a decent position because they will probably be there. Have some cover, there they are. I get a good initial damage on them. They didn't notice me before. They throw up their wall, great move from them. I throw over a nade and then try to go towards the bottom to come up from the bottom because it's very exposed there. But they don't go where I think they go. I'm not trying to look around to see where the player went, so I can capitalize from the initial damage I did. I completely depleted their shield, meaning they have to wait 10 seconds now until it comes back up. So I have a huge advantage, but I'm not really finding them. So I just loot again, which in retrospect wasn't good, but I switch out my weapons, assume they ran away, and I go towards the next glyph. And now that same player is catching me off guard because I don't expect him anymore. I'm now in a terrible position on my surfboard. They are at a very good spot with cover shooting at me, but I'm in a terrible spot. There's a bunch of monsters right next to me. There's like weird cover. I can't really go anywhere. So I just run away from the fight because this is a terrible fight for me. The other player has a huge advantage and I don't want to take this fight because it's very bad odds for me. The first instinct you should have if someone is shooting at you is not to immediately shoot back. If you get shot at, you need to first think before you do anything. Do I want to shoot back? Am I in a decent position to fight this? And the most important one, is there any cover close to me? Because if you get hit for too much, you need to break line of sight to the other player so they can't shoot you. And this is exactly what I did here. I just went away. And this is also something very important. You don't have to take every fight that you see. If you are set up to lose this fight because the other player has a, you can just try to escape the fight or reset the fight or get a better position, which is exactly what I tried here. First, I waited at this chokehold here because if they chase me, I just have 3 shots when they come underwater, but they didn't. So I go all around because I know a spot next to the vault where I have really good sightlines to where there would be. Use invisibility to not aggro too many mobs and not have to kill them. Slowly go in with the invisibility because they might predict what I'm doing. Slowly check everything and then go up there. Now I'm in a great position. I have a beautiful height advantage. I have a lot of vision and they are shooting another player, so they are distracted. I am beaming them out of my mind. They pull up the wall again, very smart from them. They barely get away even though I try to shoot down the wall, my grenade missed. And now I am not chasing the kill because I don't have to. I'm in a great spot, they won't do anything to me. And there's still another player that I don't know where they are and I don't know if they saw me shooting at them or if they were looking at us to fight. I don't know what they are doing. So pushing down right now into the open there is a death sentence. I'm now in a beautiful spot, so I just wait a bit and wait for the other players to make a play because I don't have to. I know the player that was standing next to the waterfall earlier moved upwards a bit, so there's no immediate threat from them pushing me close range. I've seen a player get shot at by the other player that was in a similar position to me earlier, so they might do a similar thing like me earlier. So I'm staying up here and I'm switching between the two sidelines every now and again, looking if one of the players does a play. I'm starting this glyph here because if the second player is coming from the back, the mobs might aggro onto him, which also happens, but I didn't notice right away. And now, while I'm distracted shooting monsters, the waterfall player takes this opportunity to take the zipline up, shoot me in the back while I'm looking away and I can't react. Out of panic, I jump down and instantly zip back up again, throw my poison grenade up here. In this moment right here, I should have been dead, but they just were too scared to push me. Through the gas grenade, they would have won that fight every time. Now I'm down there in a terrible spot. I have a player on high ground. I have a player probably behind me, but I don't know that yet. So I'm just hiding here in cover, waiting for my shield to come back up and eliminating the monsters so I don't take damage, so my shield comes back up. I'm getting a lag grenade from my lag gun here, and I know that player is still up there, so I try to push over, throw a grenade up. Maybe I can push him. I throw the grenade kind of poorly, so I can't go up. And now this is the time where I notice the other player behind me. I should have died in that situation here, or at least should have taken a lot of damage, but they just didn't shoot at me. And now I immediately go away from that player. I use the invis pod here, go back to cover. I'm now in a bad spot. I'm pinched between two players with no way to escape. But luckily for me, this is a very good spot to play defensively, because I have a lot of cover. As long as they don't throw grenades, I'm fine. If they try to push me, I just sit on this railing here, have only my head exposed, and I can pretty much shoot them for free. Now I want to take full advantage of my flare gun, so I keep using it in the same spot until I get grenades. I try to throw a grenade over to maybe get some damage in, but I'm not really hitting the grenades. I'm pushing over a bit because I've decided I want to kill that player, so I have an escape route. If I get pushed from that little ledge there from the high ground, keep turning around to look for the other player, because I know even if both shoot at me, there's enough cover for me. I just go back, they can't shoot at me, throw my grenade, it connects, I do something fancy, I pull the other player through the saw blade, stunning him, and I actually should have died again here, because I stood in the open for too long and they hit me for way too much, but instead of just shooting me, they melee me and don't do any damage, and I just kill them. Very, very important lesson: never use your melee if you are close range. Guns are always better. Like, don't do this. I see a lot of new players doing this. Pretty much never use your melee attacks on mobs or on players except if you run out of ammo and there's no other options, because it really doesn't do any damage. And after this little fight, I just look around waiting for the other player, because they should push me at some point. They probably heard that fight. If they wanted to push me right now is the best situation to do that, but they're nowhere to be seen. So I just do the glyph. Before I open the vault, I already plan to which extraction point I'm gonna go. There's an extraction point really close, but I am not going there, because the other player that I know is still alive might be camping that extraction point, knowing this is the closest one from the vault, expecting me to go there. So I don't go there. I make a plan to go to the next closest one, which is a bit farther away. But if the other player is still there, because they haven't pushed me yet, they just don't disappear, they will probably be there. So I take the safe, a bit longer route option, on which I know the back is cleared. I can just go there. I enter the vault combination, and you don't have to stand in front of the vault while it opens. So I go up there, because maybe they push me now. Grab the artifact, grab the trinkets, open the chests, go out the back. And I am now on my way to the extraction point. I want to have my gun in my hand, so if I get caught off guard, I can immediately shoot back. I take the fastest way to the extraction point that I have planned already. One thing happens on my way to the extraction point: a shroud basket spawns, which I just ignore, because there's no point in killing him. I can't hold the loot. I have a big target mark on the map. Everybody on their minimap sees me, and I'm gonna spoil the rest of the game. Nothing happens anymore. I just extract and the game is over. I don't know what happened to the other player. They just didn't push me, or maybe I was too fast and I didn't catch up. And this is how I won this game. Expect I didn't win this game, because Hawk doesn't have a win condition. This is not like a battle royale. You can't get first and it says you win. This is not a team-based shooter. At the end of a match there's a scoreboard and someone wins. Hawk is built like an extraction shooter, and a lot of people call getting all the artifacts and getting a lot of kills winning, because achieving something difficult for them is a win, and setting a goal and achieving that goal is a win. You cannot win in Hawk. Technically, you can also not really lose in Hawk. It's about setting a goal for yourself and then improving yourself and achieving that goal. I call that a win. And a lot of players, especially the new players, they are gonna die and they're gonna lose a lot, because there's only one artifact. If there's 5 players in the lobby, 80% of the time, you're gonna lose. Only one guy can get the artifact. So this is the important takeaway out of this video. The game I just played, you won't be able to immediately reproduce that. I killed everyone, didn't die, barely took damage, and made the other players look like paid actors. Because I know what I'm doing, and I have played an insane amount. But you probably haven't. So I encourage you to set your own goals and then try to achieve them and improve on the way to them. If you're completely new to the game, staying alive for a few minutes is a win. Learning the map, learning the weapons, understanding artifacts, understanding game mechanics, that's a win. Extracting some trinkets, maybe extracting a caravan artifact is a win. Getting more kills than in the last game is a win. Just extracting is a win. And at some point, you're gonna be familiar enough with the game mechanics that you can consistently get artifacts and win. But that doesn't happen immediately, and it's very important that you can understand that, because if you look at YouTube or streams, these people, they know what they're doing, and you won't be able to immediately reproduce that because it's hard, but you can improve. And here is summed up what I did in this match. First, my general game plan. After you spawn in, you orientate yourself. Find where you are on the map and get familiar with the area. Step 2, get guns. Get 2 guns that you can play. Very important. Keep looting until you have 2 guns that you are comfortable playing. Step 3. Do the first and maybe the second glyph. Step 4. Make a plan of what you want to do next. You can go for a vector depot, you can just go for player kills, maybe a caravan has spawned in. And after that, stay alive and be aware of other players. From now until the rest of the match, you are going to encounter a lot of players, so you want to stay alive. And while you are doing that, keep track of your resources, healing colas, ammo, grenades. So open some boxes on your way without wasting a lot of time. This way you can have stable resources and maybe even upgrade your loadout by finding a personal mod or a better shield or better weapon. And now you do glyphs and estimate where the vault could be. The last glyph and sometimes the second last glyph will always be right next to the vault location, and this is important information because now you know other players will come to this spot at some point. Either they will come to you or you will come to them. And the last step, get artifacts, extract them. If you see a caravan, you can do that, get the artifact, extract that. Same thing with the main vault, but it's very important, you want to stay alive, so keep all of the stuff in mind before that. And now I'm going to the singular tips. So this was the general game plan for every game, and now all of the tips from this video summed up. Yeah, that's an insane amount of text. I won't be able to sum up all of this. I'm gonna leave this on for a few seconds so you can take screenshots. If not, everything's in the description. I hope this was helpful for you. I've had that as a requested video. A bunch of people came to me, said watching me play helped them improve. So I wanted to make this video. Please let me know what you think of it. Leave any comments here, or you can chat directly to me on Twitch and ask me questions. And technically I lied again. You win by having fun. In the end, it's a video game. No one gives a shit if you're good. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.